On the last episode, I took apart this small block Autopsy that showed you what was wrong with the top end, and I ignored the bottom end because we found some catastrophic results. We had found a broken head, dropped into number 6, and I said, you know what? I got comments that say, can you rebuild this motor? I don't know, so I took it apart. We took apart the bottom end. It's on the floor. Interested in seeing how I got this done? Stay tuned. Hey, how's it going today? Last video on this channel that I've released was on the autopsy of this small block Chevy. Rebuilt Christine. It's 4 years in the making on this channel, maybe 5. It's been a long time, but 170 something episodes of me restored Christine. And then, what is it now? It's, I don't know, 7 or 8 months ago, as I'm cruising along, trying to put the last few touches on Christine, running through her shakedown, trying to make sure that everything was right. My little small block, which I just refreshened. I didn't rebuild, I just refreshened it because I was trusting it. I've had it for a long time. And anyway, it gave up the ghost. So the last episode I did an autopsy on this motor, and I found that it dropped a valve head on the number 6. And I basically stopped the autopsy at that point. Once I figured out that the heads were cracked, that I had 3 bent valves, and I had a problem with some retainers on some valve springs that really caused this problem. It seeded the problem some months earlier, and then when it finally came through, it decided to catastrophically take out the motor. But anyway, through the comments in the video that I released on the autopsy, I had a lot of people say, hey, why are you giving up on that block? Why aren't you going to rebuild it? And truth told, I might still be able to rebuild it. I don't know. I really don't know. It's just in the moment, I just didn't know if it was worth it. A lot of people are up my backside saying, it's a 307, it's junk, it's garbage, it's a boat angle, blah, 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 on and on and on about a 307 being a garbage motor. And really, if you look at all the small block Chevys, everything from the 283, the 265, 283, 302, 307, 327, 350, 400. If you look at that whole array, it's really like there's just a whole bunch of blocks. And basically what they did is they took different boards and different strokes, and then you got a matrix and you got a box, and that's all the different sizes. So this 307 is really a 283 stroker motor. And if I told you I built a 283 stroker motor, you'd probably be giving me 2 thumbs up. But no, instead it's a 307. It's got a bad reputation, not because it's a bad motor, not because it's a bad block, not because of anything you might have read on the internet. It's just simply it has a reputation because they didn't make anything out of it. They didn't try. When the 307 was out in Chevrolets back when, they had the 327. So why hot rod a 307 when you can hot rod a 327 for the Corvettes and ESSs? Why do it? So anyway, it was built to be an economy motor to a point, it was never hot rodded from the factory, so it never built the reputation as being a hot rod motor. But let me tell you, there's nothing wrong with this little motor. Anyway, I'll climb down off my soapbox, pull me back off the ledge here. What we're going to do today is we're going to take this motor apart the rest of the way and see what my bottom end looks like. So I've got nothing to lose. Let's dive in. And for those of you that are wondering, this is Josie. Hey, Josie. Hey, Pumpkin. She's a rescue. She's a mix between Pit and obviously German short-haired pointer. And she's been my sweet dog now for 8 years. And she's not a great shop dog. She's not a great shop dog right now. She's probably complaining about the heat and thinking, I want to go inside. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's start tearing up this motor. So before I get started turning wrenches or anything, I want to point out a few things. I noticed I had this gouge in front of the block. I'm not quite sure. This is on the back of the timing chain. I had a brand new timing chain, double roller. And it's not gouged that badly, but it does have some tail wear on it here in the inside. And I can't tell if it did this just in one fell swoop or it had been rubbing, because it looks like the chain is polished throughout along its whole length. It doesn't look like it's got any one particular like I don't know, 4 or 5 links that just suddenly did that. So that's bizarre to me. I've never had that happen before to me. Not quite sure what to blame on that, but that's one issue that we're dealing with. Other comments on the video said, hey, You had water in there a lot. It deadlocked. It hydraulically locked. No, it didn't hydraulically lock. It definitely did not hydraulically lock. What happened was when it popped the number 6, the water jacket, it basically was compromised. So then all the water went into the number 6. But since it got in here, anything else that had the intake open, the water was allowed to filtrate through that. So the number 6, the number 2, the number 1, and I think there was some water or moisture here in the what is that, the number 5? Yeah. So that's the story behind the corrosion. This is basically just water that was sitting when it broke. This motor was sitting untouched for 6 months because I'd moved, and I couldn't spend any time in the garage. But anyway, so that's what we've got topside. Now I just need to go ahead and flip this motor over. Let's take apart the bottom end, see if we can't pop out these pistons, and see what I've got left. Let's see what we're dealing with. Let's see a few things. All right, I'm not gonna hide anything. Let's go to the oil pan first. So in the oil pan, I got stuff in the bottom. Let's see what. There's metal. There's metal in here, man. And let's see, is there anything? Just rust. But there was metal in this, and I'm not quite sure what. This should not look like that. I mean, look at this. That's disgusting. So something was having a problem, and I know I broke in some new lifters, but I don't think the moly lube that you use is going to create that much in here. So before I wipe my hands here, quick look at the crank and everything. I'm not quite sure if this thing is locked up, but I think it is. I suspect that I have a bent connecting rod, probably on the number 6, which is going to be what? It's going to be this one right here. So I'm expecting this connecting rod right there to probably be bent and to prevent me from rolling this thing over. See anything on the inside? Nothing. Nothing remarkable. This is a new pump, heavy duty pump. I don't remember it being if it was high volume, but I don't think it was. I think it was a standard pump. Got a bolt on it. I had it shimmed so that it'll bottom out. And I sprayed the cylinder walls, a little bit of WD, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this thing to turn. I think it's locked, but it could be a number of other things too. It could be, the cylinder walls could be scarred. Once it rotates backwards, yeah, it looks like it's moving ever so slightly backwards, ever so slightly. And I don't know if I'll be able to get with this rod bolt. It's rotated here. I don't think I'd be able to get this rod cap off and then get the rod bolt to clear the block to come out. So I think none of these pistons, only maybe the number, what is that, the number 7? Only the number 7 looks like it's in a decent position to come out. The number 7 and the 8 maybe. But I'm gonna keep working on it and see if I can't get it to spin one way or the other this way. And it could be that the rings are stuck. Oh, well, there you go, look. Could just be the rings are stuck. It's dragging. But it's encouraging. Like binding right there. Where am I at? So the number 6 is all the way down. Yeah, the number 6 is fully extended down. And this is classic. This is really classic for something being bent. Yeah, look, it went that far. I'm gonna turn it the other way. Watch, it's gonna come back. It's gonna turn easier, but it's gonna like jam. Let's see what it does. Can it go? Oh yeah. Ooh, man, boy, did it lock up. You heard. In fact, you can hear it. You can even hear a mechanic cluck. And it was back here somewhere. I don't know what that is. I don't know, but I heard a mechanic thunk and felt it. It's rock solid. And I don't think, but it could be maybe that the piston's hitting the block, that the top of the block maybe is messed up right here. It still has the head gasket on it. Let's get that off of it. So this is the number 6 again. And I don't know what the top of the cylinder looks like. Pistons. Pistons destroyed right here. It's got something, it's like chipped. It's banged up right there. You can see it's like missing a gouge. Oh, yeah, it's rough. It's got a chunk right here. I don't know what that is. It's got some damage here in the top of the piston. But what I really want to see is I want to see if the cylinder wall's got an issue. So it didn't get the block in the corner. It definitely took chunks out of the piston. The piston's got a divot here. It's got a divot here. It's got a divot here. That's not, this is a double eyebrow valve relief. So there's a natural eyebrow here and an eyebrow here, here, and here. But none of this. That's all from the valve head. So I don't know what's going on with this, why it's locking right there. And it might not be that cylinder, but it should be. I mean, that's the one that took the brunt of the hit. That one really, it took everything. Let's see if we can't continue to get it to rotate. We can't. Well, I mean, I feel it hard in this bolt. When it comes to top dead center there in number 6, I can get it to back off, and it's easy, it's smooth. Oh wait, I think that's more than I got it to go before. And boom, it hits again. Oh, I mean, it deadlocks right there. Now look, that's a different height, right? So it went all the way over, backwards, and it rotated that far. But I'll go this way. And watch it gonna come up even higher, and it's gonna stop. Boom. Something's hitting. But you see, that's less reveal right there. So it's it's just whatever degrees of rotation right there. It's where it's got it locked. It's on 2 sides, at top dead center, on the number 6. All right, so I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all of them out except for the number 6, because I'm betting the number 6 is what's locking up. So I'm going to leave this number 5 and the number 6. I'm going to leave these 2, and that way we'll be able to, I'll have just 2 pistons, 2 rods, and then we'll see what's going on, because I think that's what's happening, is that something is bent in here, and I'm not quite sure what's hitting where, but I know that's where it is, because that's where all the violence was. So then it happens to coincidentally be at top dead center right now on the number 1. So I'm going to go ahead and break the rod cap, the bolts. See if I can't get it to break free. Yeah, that one's moving. Let's get the rod cap off. I'm going to keep all the rod caps together with all the bearings. I want to show this to my machinist. I'm going to show everything. I want to have everything basically inspected. If this thing proves to be something that can be rebuilt, and there's a reason, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But number 1, look at the bearing. Now these are original bearings. These are old. These are the bearings that were in the motor already. All I did was I just retorqued everything. So I don't know. We're gonna put it right back the way it was. All right, let me get a couple more out, and then we'll see what we're dealing with. The number 8 came out, and there was nothing remarkable, but what I want to do is, now I've got the number 1 and the number 8, I want to see if for some reason, some strange reason, that I didn't suddenly relieve the problem, but I don't think that I did. Well, what do you know? Something's up with that. Something is definitely up with that, because the number 8 came out and now it wants to rotate, and that's what the noise was. It was back there, so let's take a look at it. Let's take a closer look at it and see if we can't see something. I don't know what I'm looking for, to be honest with you. I can't tell. But something on the number 8 must have been binding. Could have been a ring. Could Could have been a ring, but I don't think, because it was always the number 6 coming up the top, and it was like really metallic, like something was like really, I could feel it hard. It was a hard thunk. You know, all the rings are loose. Piston doesn't have any damage. You know, piston's got a mark on it for the front. This motor was rebuilt in the past, and I'm telling you what, look, I didn't take the pistons out. If I'd have taken the pistons out, I think I would have stopped right there. Look at this. It's got no more knurling on it. This motor was worn out, and I just didn't know it. Shame on me. Shame on me. Something about that number 8 bothers me. I don't like that I just was like, the number 8 doesn't seem to have been involved. So I pulled all the rings off the piston, and I set them on the side. So now I got the piston like it's supposed to go with the little notch towards the front. I'm gonna pull the cap back off, and I'm going to slip this back in without the rings, and I'm gonna see if we can't get it to lock up again. That bothers me. That really does. I don't want to gall my crank, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this in here without the rings. And I know it's not ideal, but at least I'll get the rod cap back on and then see if we can't replicate it. Number 8 now. But what the heck? Yeah. What is that? I mean, you hear it? Back it up. And pull it forward and listen good. You hear it? I mean, it is like locked tight. With the number 7 removed, I'm on the number 8 sitting there, and it wiggles. I haven't tried turning it yet, but I'm gonna try to turn it with the 7 completely out. And I didn't see anything obvious with the number 7, but it was like, I mean, hard locking. It comes around, and there it is again. I mean, it's stuck. It is stuck. So now I got the number 1 and the number 2 out, the number 7 and number 8 out, and it spins freely. As soon as I pull the number 2 out, it freed up again. So I don't know if the crank is bent and it's just something, it's a combination of which ones are attached at any given time, but it's probably something like that. So I'm also looking, the crank has a nick on the number 1 journal, and I'm pretty sure I didn't just do that. That was like that. It looks like it's even got some markings maybe where that was like glossed over or something before. You can't really catch a nail on it, but it's a depression, so maybe they just turned that into the crank. I don't know if this is turned over or not. I need to look at the bearings and see if the bearings are like marked 10 over or 20 over. But anyway, let's just go ahead and I'm going to finish pulling this apart, put it aside, and then we'll just inspect everything and then wrap this video up. All right, I finally got the number 6 out, and you can see the problem. It's got a bent wrist pin. So number 6, it's like you can't get this wrist pin to really move too much. You saw all the other ones. The other ones were real free flowing. They were free moving. Watch, so that's the number 6. Grab the number 8. The number 8. You know, it floats. It floats and it moves easy. Number 6. Number 6 is barely moving. It's not free floating. So the problem is the bent wrist pin. All right. So let me get I got one more piston to take out, and then we can look at everything. All right, I just shot 5 minutes of video, and I must have hit the stop button. But it's hot. It's blazing hot. So hot that I don't mind taking an oil rag to my face. That's gross, but I mean, damn, I'm dripping. I'm dripping. So let me turn around and show you what I got on. Got all of them out, and the crank looks good. You know, the crank here, it rotates. It's doing well. You know, it's spinning. It's not binding. It's not dragging. It doesn't have any hard spots, and then you give it a good turn and it just rolls. So the crank, I think the crank is okay as far as its alignment. Doesn't impress me to be bent. Let's take a look at the journals. The number 1 got a little bit of a small nick I'll get you zoomed in on it. This could be an assembly nick. That could be somebody with a rod bolt and accidentally gouged the rod bolt on the side of the journal, like, you know, turning the crank while the rod bolt was right there and it didn't have the thread protected with a little rubber tube or something like that, and that might have nicked that and they might have polished it out. I don't know, but that's what that impresses me to be. And then I go to the number 2, it's fine. Number 3's got a bit of a score, and it's enough to catch a fingernail on, but I think it's a groove. And you can see it comes right out of the oil passage. So the oil passage, I'm sure the bearing in a second, but number 4 looks good. Surprisingly, number 5 and 6 look good too. Nothing wrong here. There's nothing, no wear. Here, the same thing here, no wear. So if I'm looking at this crank, I'm thinking this crank probably is salvageable. It's probably, even if it was turned already, I don't think it needs to be turned. I think it'd be polished. So, you know, if this is the solution, if going back to this mode is the solution, if it's feasible, then maybe the crank is salvageable too. So let's go look at the pistons. So now there's nothing remarkable with the pistons except for the number 6 that I already showed you. But I'm looking here, and the bearings, all the bearings seem to have on the same quadrant. They've got like a little gall mark or something in that same corner. It's really pronounced in the number 2. You can see how it kind of like it maybe dry oiling for a moment. I don't know, but it's all on the same side. Number 3 doesn't have it, but you remember number 3 had that groove, and there's the matching groove on the bearing. You get real close on it, you can see it. And it came out of the oil hole, the oiling hole, and then just got caught. So here's the number 4. Number 4 looks okay. Number 5 looks okay. It's got the same galling in the same quadrant. Right there. Same galling. And then number 6, which is a mess. But watch the number 6, it's opposite. Wait, let's see, do I have the, I got it rotated. No? But the number 6 has that, and I thought that might be because it was mashed. But man, this piston is like locked up. It is locked up. This piston is junk. Oh, I failed to mention that my number 4, I cracked it because it fell on the floor as it was falling out of the block, and I dropped it. But my fault. However, all this is junk. Number 7 and number 8. Look at the number 7. The number 7's got another galling mark, but it's right at 12 o'clock. You know, same thing on number 8. I don't know if that would have happened during the event when the motor locked up and the valve broke, but that's what I'm dealing with. I'm not going to bother to remove the main caps because I think, you know, this kind of tells a story. I'm going to leave this assembled. I think this tells me what I need to know. I'm going to leave it assembled. Take that, I'm going to pick that up. Here it is. So I got it on a moving blanket. I don't want it to tip, so I might block it up before I go, but that's it. I'm out. All right, I'm just about to drive off from Dar Engine Service, and my neighbor wasn't in, Harvey wasn't in, but David was there, and David's the new owner, so he's very busy right now. He's got a good problem to have, he said. But anyway, we looked at it real quick, and then he, you know, I mean, this guy's he's been doing it forever. So he took a quick look at it. He understood exactly why I want to consider rebuilding this 307. He's same camp as me. It's like, you know, why modernize? It's like, you know, old school vintage power, and that's what I'm trying to do. But anyway, he looked at the block real quick. He looked at the pistons. He agreed that the pistons are worn. The knurling's all gone, so the cylinder's got similar wear, and he was feeling his fingernail on it. And he thinks that it's 30 thousandths over now, but just from what he saw, and even the number 6, it had the bad damage. He said that he thinks another 10,000 will clean it up. So he said we might be stepping up to just 40 thousandths over on the pistons. So that's good, because I think my limit is 60 thousandths. So he said just next size up, which would be 40 thousandths. So he's gonna tank it and mic it and figure everything out. But one more thing that we looked at, I brought in my camshaft, And he looked at the lobes, and he said, "Man," he says, "I just don't like what I'm looking at." He's, and you could see like the polish and the pitting at the very top of the lobes, and he's like, he says, "This cam is it's probably not long for this world." So, the smart thing to do is for me to replace it. And even though it's several $100, it's like sure beats 5,000 on having to do all this all over again. So, that's where I'm at. And he said it'd be about 2 weeks before he can get to it, but I will check back with you when we get more news. So stay tuned.